In today's video, we are going to look at another exciting topic, and that is Jehovah's Witnesses in crisis, clear signs of an imminent collapse. For decades, Jehovah's Witnesses have been steadfast in their beliefs, claiming to be the only true path to salvation. But today, cracks are appearing in the foundation of this once unshakable faith. Behind closed doors, the very structures that upheld its dominance are starting to crumble. The witness crisis is not just a series of isolated events. It's a perfect storm of internal scandals, mass disillusionment, and a new era of information access that is making it impossible to ignore the truth. From the scandals that rocked the organization to silent forces accelerating its decline, we will expose how this religious movement, once so confident in its standing, is facing a reckoning. I'm sure some of you that have been dealing with Jehovah's Witnesses for a long time, you know how confident Jehovah's Witnesses have been, showing that they are the only ones that have the truth. Other religious organizations don't have the truth. Everything has been corrupted. The name of Jehovah has been corrupted. The Bible has been corrupted. And they themselves have come to restore the name of Jehovah. And they made a lot of comments, laughed at the Catholics with child abuse scandals. They laugh at other religious organizations for misuse of funding, for living luxurious and elaborate lives. For a very long time, many people were able to believe them, that they were actually the Holy One, and they were even able to attract people. But as we shall show you in this 4-part series, you will see that there are 4 main aspects of the Jehovah's Witnesses that is showing the imminence of their collapse. They've been talking about the imminence of the end of the world, but it looks like we will be seeing the imminence of the end of this organization. They've been talking about Armageddon for years, but it looks like we will be seeing the Armageddon within the Jehovah's Witnesses sect. In episode 1, we will explore how the first cracks in the armor are beginning to show. In episode 2, we'll take you behind the curtain of the multi-million-dollar scandals that are shaking the foundation of the Jehovah's Witnesses. In episode 3, we'll look at the growing number of people walking away from the faith and why this exodus is accelerating. And finally, in episode 4, we will examine how the digital revolution is quietly tipping the scales, fueling the collapse. Welcome to episode 1 of the Jehovah's Witnesses Crisis, Clear Signs of an Imminent Collapse, entitled Cracks of the Jehovah's Witness Downfall Begin to Show. In this episode, we will uncover the initial cracks in the Jehovah's Witnesses organization. Imagine a fortress built to last forever. Its walls are strong, its defenders unwavering. For over a century, this fortress stood tall, proclaiming its strength to the world. But now cracks are spreading and the foundation is crumbling. Let's begin looking at the radical transformation that altered its identity. As you know, the Jehovah's Witnesses have made many fundamental changes to their doctrine, and they call this the new light. They've made so many changes that even themselves are not sure of what they used to believe in the past.
Let's be quite frank. Over the last few years, we've had a few changes with regard to the events that occurred during the Great Tribulation. And if you've been in the truth for a while, sometimes it's a bit hard to remember, was that what we used to believe, or is this what we believe now?
Although he's saying that there were only few changes, but his other colleague says there have been a lot of changes.
Well, I'm sure we all agree with this fact. In recent years, there have been a lot of changes. Even since the last annual meeting, there have been many changes.
The challenge is that these same doctrines that held the Jehovah's Witnesses, that made it very strong, is what is bringing it down. This is the first thing that has created a crisis in the Jehovah's Witnesses. The doctrine that made them look strong are the same ones that are bringing them down. The question that we're asking, How can the truth keep on changing? If people have the truth, why do they keep changing the truth? The Jehovah's Witnesses are known for their strict adherence to what they call the truth. Yet, over the years, their identity has undergone radical transformations, raising questions even among loyal members. In the 1968 book, The Truth That Leads to Eternal Life, the organization boldly stated, within a few years at most, the final parts of prophecy relative to the last days will undergo fulfillment. That's The Truth That Leads to Eternal Life, 1968, page 9. This gave a clear agency for the members. However, recent literature like What Can the Bible Teach Us 2015 avoids such definitive claims. What has kept the Jehovah's Witnesses on their toes is this sense of agency that the end is about to come, Armageddon is about to come, and most of you who are studious know that the 1975 was actually the climax, because they believed the world was coming to an end. People sold their homes and just began preaching door to door, and when the end did not come, they were disillusioned. If you are enjoying this program, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notice bell so that every time I produce a new video, you will be notified. If you've noticed, in the last few years, they've actually been toning down from this sense of agency that the end is about to come. And they are trying to balance this tension of trying to still maintain the sense of agency and also trying to explain that the end might actually not just be right now. They may still have a few more years to go, and because of that, they have to reorganize themselves, still create that sense of agency, but at the same time, let the members know that that end may not just be right now. It might come anytime, but probably they still have a few more years to go before the end. And this is what we see in this drama that they've acted, basically trying to shift the focus from the agency to actually some sense of stability that the members are supposed to focus on. This is a clip from a two-part series drama of the Jehovah's Witnesses entitled Applied Bible Principles or Apply Bible Principles. Part 1 of this series focused on a sense of agency that the world is about to come to an end. However, Part 2 seems to be toning down on that agency. And we have the young man there whose back is against the camera, asking questions, saying, if the end is very far, why did I have to change my life? So you know what these Jehovah's Witnesses do? When they decide to change a particular doctrine, they will begin to prepare the members with the publications. They will use their work. They will use the Watchtower magazines. And then they will couple it up with JW Broadcasting, where they will highlight some of these. And to support that, they will also act some dramas to be able to support. And basically, they're using a multi-pronged approach to be able to begin to change the thinking of their members. Now, unfortunately, these members are so indoctrinated to believe that the governing body is a discreet and faithful slave who speaks for Jesus, and therefore whatever they say is true. So they keep believing everything. But whenever a member of the Jehovah's Witnesses begins to question, there's a term that I've heard from the former members of the Jehovah's Witnesses, which they repeatedly use, and they say, when I woke up. So immediately they begin to wake up, they can no longer remain in the Jehovah's Witnesses, implying that all you members of the Jehovah's Witnesses are actually fast asleep, and you don't even realize what is happening. Now, so what is the problem with this change, this shift in thinking? The problem is that without a concrete timeline, many members are questioning the agency that once defined their faith. Let's watch a clip of this drama.
Both of you have shown me how close we really are.
I have to take this quickly, but I'll see you on Friday.
We just want to be sure you are focused on the right things.
We can all start thinking too much about when the end will come.
But I'm just being alert. Isn't that what you taught me to do?
Alert is good.
And if the end is really so far off, why did I need to change my life now?
You are asking the right questions. There was a moment in our lives when we focused too much on the when rather than the why we were serving Jehovah.
This is the answer.
Since all these things are to be dissolved in this way, consider what sort of people you ought to be in holy acts of conduct and deeds of godly devotion.
And that is a very, very big change, because they've been known and members have been motivated to drop everything that they are doing because the end is about to begin. So how would they reconcile this shift from sense of agency to some sort of stability, and that the end may not necessarily be just now? Now, if your life has been preoccupied with the end in mind, everything pointing to the end, the sense of agency, what do you do when that end does not come? In the Watchtower, May 15, 1984, the governing body stated, if the wicked system of this world survived until the turn of the century, which is highly improbable, but today, such bold predictions are avoided. Instead, the 2020 Watchtower Study Edition emphasizes the vague spiritual goals, leaving long-time members feeling uncertain about the future. For decades, Jehovah's Witnesses emphasized the imminent end of the world, urging members to prioritize their faith above all else, but this agency has significantly diminished. Another example is the evolving interpretation of Matthew 24, verse 34. Initially, this generation referred to those alive in 1914 who would witness Armageddon. In the Watchtower, June 2015, 2010, this teaching was redefined to include overlapping generations, a concept that many find confusing and unconvincing. This aspect of the overlapping generation, and as you can see on the right side there, you see that this was a magazine that came out that showed that the generation that will not pass away. And unfortunately, this generation has actually passed on, and the end is not yet here. And this is not just like few months or few years. Basically, a century has passed from 1914 to 2014, and that is a long time. So because of this challenge and this problem of their predictions, the Jehovah's Witnesses have now changed to overlapping generations, which is basically a very, very confusing concept, because overlapping generation is actually a concept that you find in economics, how the changes will affect different generations. This concept has actually been brought into the Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't know. I really don't know how these people even are able to sleep at night with all these changes. I don't know whether every time they're sleeping, they're thinking of how they can be able to cover up for unfulfilled predictions that they've made in the past. Now, if you have enjoyed this program, you've derived benefit from this program, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notice bell so that every time I produce a new video, you will be notified. If you have any questions of any kind, good or bad, encouraging or discouraging, don't forget to put them in the comment section below, and I'll be able to respond to you. The question that I have for you is, do you think the Jehovah's Witnesses' downfall is imminent, or it still has a long way to go? Is it possible that the Jehovah's Witnesses is going to weather this storm of changes and impending decline? Is the organization going to survive and reorganize itself and continue to grow? Put your comments below about what you think of the future of the Jehovah's Witnesses. This episode is in 2 parts. For episode 1B, click on this link.